Foodcorp specialty divisions are some of the largest prepared foods manufacturers for Woolworths. We pride ourselves in manufacturing the highest quality and safe food products in South Africa. Our product range across our divisions includes the following products: chilled cakes and desserts with cream, sandwiches, salads, biltong and droëwors, takeaway foods, party foods and pizzas, scones, flapjacks, waffles and English muffins, muffins and pastries, ambient cakes with icing, large and cupcakes, specialty breads and frozen products. Safety, the environment and food safety are very important aspects of our business, and we ask that all employees, contractors and visitors please comply with all legal requirements, as well as our site rules and regulations that will be featured in this video. Remember that everyone must take reasonable care for the health and safety of himself and of persons who may be affected by his or her acts or omissions. When entering the site, please make sure that you filled in all the required documentation. You will be instructed as to the access control process. The Visitors Register and Induction Training Record lists the allergens that occur in the production area. Please be aware of these allergens used in the plant and highlight very clearly if you are allergic to any of the foodstuffs. On entry and exit to the production facility, you may be subjected to a random search. Ensure that you adhere to the items that are not allowed on site, for example, firearms and knives, and make sure that you have declared all personal items taken with you on site, for example, laptops. At Foodcorp Specialty Division, we employ strict health and safety standards that comply with the OSH Act. Pay close attention to the basic health and safety rules covered in this DVD. We also have systems in place with certification in food safety, ISO 22000. Please pay close attention to all the personal hygiene and conduct rules covered in this DVD. Smoking is only permitted in the designated smoking areas. The head cover or mop cap is to be worn continuously on the premises and not taken off during tea, lunch or toilet breaks. This is to prevent hair from falling onto clothing during the dressing process. Also, no factory protective clothes may be worn outside the factory. No alcohol or drugs are allowed on site. No photographs of the facility, either outside or inside, may be taken without prior authorization. Please keep the site clean and do not litter either inside or outside the facility. Remember, it's everyone's responsibility to keep the site clean. Hygiene rules. Induction training is required for all employees, temporary workers and contractors. It is valid for a 1-year period. After the completion of induction training, the employees will sign the training register and basic safety rules. The emergency procedures and equipment will be explained to them. Remove all jewelry, including wristwatches, religious bands, traditional bands, chains, wedding bands, other rings, beads, rubber bands, and earrings. Only a medical alert chain or bracelet is allowed. The following personal items should not be kept in pockets on entering the production area: wallets, matches, cigarettes or snuff, medication, lip balm, and sweets. Fingernails must be short and clean. When holding the hand palm up, the nails must not be visible from that side. No false nail tips, false nails, or nail varnish are allowed. No excessive makeup may be worn, as clots of mascara or powder can fall into the food stream. The wearing of false eyelashes is not permitted, as they can fall into the food stream. No excessive strongly scented aftershave or perfume or hand cream may be worn. Perfume influences the smell of the food. Report any medical conditions, injuries, cuts or wounds, or any skin condition before entering the factory. Cuts and wounds are to be covered with plaster provided by the first aider, and a glove if the injury is on the hand. Spectacles must either be worn or carried in their case. They may not hang around your neck. Hair cloths or douks must be fastened by tying the ends. It is not allowed to fasten the douk with any type of metal or plastic clip or pin. Hair extensions that need more than 2 mop caps to cover them are not allowed. Only 2 mop caps are allowed to cover hair extensions. All persons entering the plant are expected to wear clean protective clothing. The protective clothing must be worn in a manner that prevents personal clothing from being in contact with the product or product handling surface. All personal clothing must be safely stored in the lockers in the change room areas. Protective clothing will be issued from a dedicated clothing issuing area or laundry. There are 2 colors for protective clothing: white for low care areas like the bakeries and kitchens, and green for the high care areas where ready to eat food is packed into containers. The correct sequence of putting on low-risk protective clothing, the white coats, is as follows. 1. Put on the mop cap and beard snood. 2. Put the white coat on, all personal clothes to be covered. 3. Put on the boots. All personnel and visitors entering the production areas are required to wash their hands with the provided antibacterial hand soap and dry them with a paper towel. Hands must be sanitized with the sanitizer provided before entering the production area. No spitting, smoking, or sniffing of snuff is allowed in the factory or warehouse area. No eating, drinking, or chewing of gum is allowed inside the facility, except in the designated eating area, for example, in the quality control tasting room. The drinking of water is only allowed at dedicated water stations inside the production area. Do not lick your fingers. Or 2, touch your face while inside production. If you sneeze or cough, turn your head away from the food. Use your shoulder or elbow to cough or sneeze into. The use of cell phones inside production areas is strictly prohibited. Management are allowed to answer cell phones, but should wash and sanitize their hands after using cell phones inside production. When in production, report any injuries that occur immediately to the manager or first aider in order for them to be treated. Take note of where the emergency exits are located inside the facility. Take note of the emergency plan, evacuation procedure, and fire procedures in the facility, as well as where the emergency assembly point is located on the site. In the event of an emergency, follow the instructions of your evacuation coordinator in the area or your guide and make your way to the emergency assembly point. Note where the fire extinguishers are located inside the facility. They're indicated by the symbolic signs on the walls. Be careful when walking inside production areas, as floors may be slippery when wet. All visitors, contractors or employees must understand the content of the Schedule D notice of the OSH Act, which is displayed in the factory. No person is allowed to operate any machine if he or she is not trained to do so. All incidents are to be reported immediately to the area manager or to your guide. An Annexure 1 incidents form needs to be completed for any injuries on site with a copy of your ID document. There are 4 different kinds of signage that you need to look out for in and around the factory. Yellow signs, warning. Red signs, danger and fire. Green signs, general. And blue signs, mandatory. Site-specific risks. Do not touch any of the equipment in the kitchen area, as these are hot. Keep your distance from the oil frying operation. Full cooking protective clothing must be worn when working in this area. The floors in some areas are exceptionally slippery. Walk slowly and do not run in production areas. Do not walk unaccompanied at the back of the factory building, where the boiler, gas and other services are located. Keep your distance from all service equipment and boilers. People are continually using the passages to get to their areas of work. Crates stacked on top of each other are sometimes pushed at high speed and could injure unsuspecting people in the passageways, especially around corners. Closure. The most important point that must be remembered is that food safety and employee safety is not just the responsibility of management, but also the responsibility of each person that works on the site, as well as all contractors and visitors to our factory and site. Have a safe day, and remember, safety always comes first. Now this concludes the section which applies to staff and visitors. Now follows information for contractors. Before contractors can start working, the following documents need to be completed. A. The Section 37 contract must be signed on all of the pages by the contractor and the Foodcorp division representative. B. A valid WCA certificate must be supplied by the contractor. C. A valid public liability insurance. And D. Induction training and emergency procedures. Permits are issued for the following jobs by the maintenance manager on site prior to the commencement of any work on site. Hot work, heights and roofs, electrical work, and scaffolding. Contractors must have a list of all tools and equipment being brought onto the site. The tools and equipment must be inspected by the maintenance manager before any work commences on site. A hot work permit must be obtained from the maintenance manager on site prior to the commencement of any hot work. Now, hot work includes welding, soldering, brazing, grinding, cutting, or indeed any work that involves a possible source of ignition in an area where flammable or explosive materials may be present. Requirements for hot work are to screen off the area completely using only welding screens. No combustible materials are to be used to screen off. Ensure that food streams are covered and protected at all times. Have a fire extinguisher within the area where hot work is to be done. Clean up the area. No dust in the air or on the floor. Inspection after completion of hot work, with hot work permit being signed off. Remember the 1-hour fire check. Any work 2 meters and above the ground is deemed to be working at heights and will require a permit to work, obtainable from the Health and Safety Coordinator on site. PPE required for such work includes safety harnesses and lifelines, which are to be provided by the contractor. Training records certifying a person to work at heights are to be issued to the maintenance manager. Before working on electrical equipment and panels, ensure an electrician locks them and tags them out. Under no circumstances are you allowed to work on any running or moving machinery unless it has been made safe by using a lockout tagger.